Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I am preparing here now to do a new moon reading in the sign of Capricorn, happening on the 30th of December 2024. So this is the last moon reading in the year 2024. So this is the one that is going to, you could say, close off the energy of this year. And we'll see what comes up here for everybody. It's a general reading. It cannot fit everyone. Of course it cannot. I have a different setting. I'm in the process of moving, so please excuse that. But I'll do my best still here. Okay, let's have a look here. So like overall general about Capricorn is that it's the last earth sign. It's the 10th house. It usually has to do with work or problems with work, maybe unemployment or shifts of work. Capricorns are known to be like very work-oriented, I believe, in my book Capricorn, because it's associated with the devil card in tarot. So to me, Capricorns have this, there's a special thing about Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. It's Capricorn comes with obstacles, right? That there's something to be sometimes overcome or understood about Capricorn energy. We can have the sense of feeling like an outsider, a scapegoat, someone who has to work extra hard for. If you are a woman in a man's occupation, you have to work twice as hard, right? To prove yourself, or to, there's this feeling of there's always some bumps in the roads for the Capricorn. That's why it's a devil card, right? It's like there's always something that seems as a hindrance in some sense. Participating in something that you don't really maybe feel deeply about deep down, but doing it anyway because you have to earn money, or you have to do something, like being part of an occupational, let's say, trade, but it's not really your heart, right? It's not really what you dream about, or it's not. But doing it anyway, the devil energy, right? That you have to do it because otherwise, well, we have to, get by, right? We have to pay the bills and so on. So Capricorn can be this feeling of needing to do something, being part of something, overstepping certain boundaries or something like that, because it's necessary, right? It's necessary. In some sense. I feel like it's a new moon reading, so it means that this can be the start of something. You can start manifesting something new with a new moon, right? Maybe you want a different job. Maybe you're stepping out of like the work environment entirely. Maybe you are retiring, so you could, you know, like try to manifest a certain different style of life, or maybe you want off the hamster wheel, you want a more like working from home or something like that. But there is an opportunity with the new moon to try to manifest differently, right? To keep a dream alive and then keep focus on it. Like Capricorns are very good at this. Like they can really shut out everything else and keep this focus on just pinpointing towards, you would say, the light, right? Keeping the focus on this goal and then just move towards it. That's very Capricorn-like. We are finishing off a year, an 8-year, 2024, 2, 2, 4 is 8. 8 is one of the, you could say, the finishing numbers. There's only 9 in numerology after. This is the next year. We're having a 9-year. In 2025, it will be a 9-year. 8 usually has to do with what we say, as above, so below. So what we think, what we are occupied by, what we believe in is going to be the reality that we have. Or it's going to manifest, what you think in your head is going to manifest in the body, or a similar, the dreams you have can manifest in your life, right? That you, as above, so below. So you have like the two circles of an 8 means that the above and the below is connected and is reflected in your life. So the 9 energy that comes after New Year will be more of a finishing, a perfection, a finishing, a year of, you could say, completion, maybe completing something, completing maybe an education, you know, shifting from an education system and then actually getting into the job work environment. That is also a shift, right? That you have been in one environment and then into another, but it may have to do with work. What is work exactly? Is work only the things that pay you? Or do you feel like you have another kind of work? Another kind of work that is also important, something you, I don't know, you do as a hobby, or maybe you have a hobby that is actually more aligned with your heart. And then you have your ordinary life or your ordinary job. The job that society requires for you to earn your money, pay your bills, and so on. But there could definitely be a new start of something, or you are about to, you're getting closer to a completion of some kind. The next year can be about completing something. You know, let's say you are a young person and the completion is about moving out from your childhood home, having your own more adult new life, a new job you have perhaps like shifting from being a child in the home to now being a responsible young person, or similar, right? Just take a look around you, what is happening in your life. Again, the 9 energy is not quite here yet, but it's closing in, just a few more days, right? That's what we say, at least. And again, remember, there's this, like, the time calculation that we have. Well, when did it actually start? Can we be sure that this is actually an 8-year or a 9-year? Only what you believe in, right? If you believe in numerology, if you believe in astrology, as above, so below. So if you believe it, it can pinpoint. If you believe it enough, it becomes your world, right? So take what I'm saying here. Make a clear choice whether you trust our time understanding. Do you trust the numerology thinking? Do you trust the cards of it? It's always something about our own narrative. The narrative that we have is the narrative we live, right? So you can change that. You can have questions, right? You can be an observer of energy. You can decide that, you could say, the timeline that certain people live in, with tradition, moral, and everything, you can decide whether you want to stick to it, or if you feel like you don't belong there, right? That it's something that is, I don't know, made up. Is our entire society made up? Our time understanding, the month, the numbers, is it real? Like, is it real to you? Because if it's real to you, it will impact the way you think, your actions, and what you are doing. So let's say that you believe in Christmas, you believe in Jesus, you believe in Christmas and the honoring of Christmas. Then it means that you're probably doing some of the things that connects with Christmas celebration. You may, you may decorate your house. You may put up outdoor lights, right? You may buy presents. You may make certain dinners, Christmas dinners. You may invite people, right? You may spend a lot, because Christmas can be expensive, right? You may wanna enjoy holidays with family, right? You wanna connect, right? So you see, Christmas becomes now a catalyst for certain behavior. And I think that it's interesting that Christmas is in the Capricorn season. I think it's asking us to think about it, right? It's asking us to become aware of what is, for instance, Christmas for you. What is New Year, right? Do you believe in the traditions? Do you want it to rule something? Like, do you want it to rule your life? Do you want it to have such impact? I think that's also why we have the Devil card in Capricorn season. It's like we are being, the cold, at least in the upper hemisphere, it's like this, right? It's the cold weather. The sun is not there, or very little. It's rainy, it's cold, it can be icy and snowy. It's like the good times are not there, right? The scenery, the country scenery is not there. It's all kind of dull and not fertile. It's a reflective time of maybe also being a bit humble, that we remember, right? That we remember that times are not always jolly, right? That we can lose things. we become a little more careful maybe about the, like, taking things for granted is maybe something we become aware of when there is a time where everything seems a bit colder and more dark in some way. It's a more introverted and also, as I said, maybe more focused. The darkness can sometimes also focus things, right? Because we can't see much, right? So we can keep a focus on something particular. For me right now, I'm in the process of moving, so I concentrate on, like, that is the thing that I'm currently packing and, all this stuff. And I think that there's a time of being aware that potentially something is not there. The dark, cold times can also remind us of absence, right? The absence of the summer, of spring, of flowers, of green grass and sunny, warm weather, the outdoor life, and something like that. That is kind of prohibited. We run to shelter. We stay inside. We are more indoors. It's more difficult to navigate the outside world. It's darker. It can be more tricky. Traffic can be more tricky. Icy roads, actually more dangerous maybe, right? More obstacles in the morning when you have to get to work. The car is icy, you have to de-ice it, and it's more difficult to, you can't drive the same pace, you have to slow a bit down and so on. There is the kind of this restriction in some way. That's very much what Capricorn is, like the feeling that life comes with this restriction, right? That there is a kind of restriction on what is possible, and you have to stick to your plan to actually get there, right? That is what Capricorn is to also. I feel like that life comes with a restriction, asking us to be humble and remember what actually matters and focus on that in some way. That's also what Christmas tries to do, right? That we are, remember who you love, and the get-togethers, the people that matter, the things that matter in your life. So it's something that, like, Capricorn season has this feel to it. Like when we take away the nice cozy Christmas dinners and we look at what else is there, it has this sense of that we feel a bit restricted, right? That it's too, the outdoors is not welcoming us, right? It's like the environment is not right for us. We don't have the fur, we don't have the skills to just stay out there. We are like indoor creatures, right? Indoor animals, right? That don't even know how to handle ourselves out there. Well, of course, some do, but I guess if you look at this reading, maybe you are not one of those people, right? I think there is something about being reminded, and that's what I think winter does. It reminds us to appreciate when times are good, right? Or when spring is there and summer is there and abundance and, like there's abundance of food also, right? Capricorn season can have this sense of scarcity in the sense that when you look outside, you can't just go out and harvest something. We have done this beforehand, right? We've made a system with our food. So we are sure that we have something in our society. The supermarkets have food during winter time. We don't really feel it that much, right? But if we hadn't, equaled this out, we would have scarcity during this time. It is originally a time where life was very much reminded of an absent sun, right? The absent sun. And what that means. In society, we have kind of equaled it out. We don't feel it that much. We can still buy the things we need. There is still heating, there's still electric light, there's still water to drink, it's equaled out in that way. We don't feel it that much. That's why we can have the fancy Christmas dinners. Otherwise, we had to save beforehand, right? As people did way back in time, right? They saved it, right? They conserved and saved and so on, so that they had food during this time, because it is a time originally of constriction or some kind of lack feeling. I think Capricorn season, because it is quite dark, can come with a sense of loneliness. A sense, though there is Christmas and everything, there is still this sense of, like a sense of absence in some way. And I think some of this loneliness is actually the sun. We, as beings, are missing the sun. We're missing the warmer times. We're missing a more freer life experience. So Capricorn, there's this sense of there can be loneliness during this time. But still, you can have, again, the new moon is a beautiful time to try to change that, perhaps. Become very much aware of it. What is it you are longing for? What is it you wish for? And try to manifest it. Try to believe that it's here, it's already here. If you live in the upper hemisphere, well, you could move to the more southern hemisphere, right? Or you could move closer to the equator if you want more or less winter time, right? I know this is easier said than done, but it is possible, isn't it? The restrictions we feel are maybe because we don't dare to make new moves or new adaptations. So, are you bowing to something because it's easier? And you don't see other options. But if there were other options, would you even be willing to consider them, right? That is Again, Capricorn is dancing with the devil. That's kind of what the energy is. It's this feeling of being up against something sometimes. And every time you make a new move, it's like there's this resistance, right? Or there's this bump in the road, or it seems like it's not that easy, or it comes with a big sacrifice, for instance. And are you willing to make that sacrifice? And I believe, again, well, if we get hungry enough, right? We may be willing to make that sacrifice. If it's important enough, we will make it. If it pressures us enough, we will make that change. Okay, let's have a look at the center card here. So I get setting boundaries here. We have a woman, and then we have a tiger, cheetah kind of animal here, right? And she has her hands up here, like the palms up, like stop, right? This feeling of needing to set boundaries, threshold, protection, and honor, right? That there could be something about honoring things you want in life, honoring yourself in some way, honoring the path you're on, honoring your body as a temple, honoring a religious belief. And because of that, you kind of put up your fists, right? You say stop, or you are saying no to something because it isn't right for you. Perhaps you are needing to set boundaries in your work. Maybe you want to stop a work, try something else. Like threshold protection, this tells me something about almost like intimacy sphere, right? That there's something that something is not supposed to, like there's this, we have a barrier in some way, right? That where maybe we don't want everything to just come in. The feeling of like an intimacy barrier or privacy barrier. It could be something about like maybe you want quiet Christmas days or a quieter New Year. So this could talk about like the privacy sphere of your home, that you will not allow anyone in, right? That it's okay to not overshare at work, right? It's okay to not be that familiar if it's not right for you. Like when the animal is here, it's like a protective animal, a jaguar, a cheetah, a lion here. It tells me something. Well, it can be a protective animal, right? An animal spirit you have with you that you have to embody. like the strength of such animal, right? To put up that boundary. But there's also something else about it. Like for me, to me today, it tells me something about like these animals can be maybe loner animals, right? They hunt alone, they maybe live alone. Maybe you have, like roots, evolutionary roots that have to do with this line of animals. It's a predator, right? Originally a predator. Maybe you are just someone who doesn't want it can be a part of you, right? It can be a part of you that, yeah, you like the social gatherings, but you also like your privacy, right? You also like quiet days, right? You also like to like you could gather strength when you're alone, right? You could build up your energy when you're alone, perhaps. Something like that, that it's all right in this festive time, Christmas time, that you also say no sometimes. If that is you, right? If that is how you are, or you're dealing with someone who says no here, and you may be wondering, why are they saying no? Because I just invited them to this festive gathering. Why do they say no? Well, they say no because maybe they need to, right? They're protecting their own energy. They are honoring themselves in some way. So I get door to value in the root position here. I feel like it goes hand in hand with the honoring here. It says, I don't know if you can see it, it says honoring down here. Honor. That if you honor yourself, it has to do with your self-worth, how you see your own value, right? When you open the door to your own self-worth, you're realizing like how you honor yourself best and how you protect yourself maybe from outside influence. I said before, I said something about like what narratives do you believe in, right? What stories do you believe in? Do you believe in like numerology? Do you believe in, this can also be what this talks about, that you say no to certain narratives, right? Because you're honoring something about yourself, and it goes hand in hand with your self-worth, right? That the self-worth, the value you put on yourself, is what you are protecting here, right? That when you give yourself the permission to have value, when you feel that strong enough, and you consider the narratives you believe in, the values you have, that you consider them like most important, then you have a guideline for what you need to be involved in. No matter what this value is, right? No matter what this is. Door to value can be something about, maybe you see it here, you see that there's money coming out of this door, right? Or coins and I feel worthiness, right? Some worthiness. I also feel that like, saying no to people who will underpay you, right? Like if they don't see your value, if they don't see who you are, and they aren't willing to honor that, again, honor, if they aren't willing to honor it, you're saying no to that, right? You're saying no to being underpaid or looked down upon or something like that. Could have to do with work, could have to do with work, but I also get something else. I get something like a life purpose, something you may be doing that is not a work, like you don't get paid for it in that way. Maybe it's you know, it could be to be very religious, right? If you're very religious and you pray and you keep up prayer, that is not per se something that you get paid for, right? It's something that is a part of you. It's something you choose to do. It's something you are devoted to. Yeah, there could be something about the like devotion to something. Devotion to something, and it has to do with the feeling of self-worth and like knowing who you are. I feel like whether it's paid or not, it's paid in another way. Value is also self-worth, right? Self-worth is not something you necessarily get paid for, but it's definitely nice to have, right? It's definitely nice to have. And walking in those shoes, that if this is in the root position, it means that it's from where you draw your energy, right? That if you draw your energy from a place of feeling important and precious and special or capable and clever and very educated or very capable, that you're definitely worth good money, right? You're definitely worth your paycheck. You're definitely worth more than that. It's not just paycheck. It's the story about you. It's the reputation you have. It's the goodwill, right? It's more than just. And if you know that, if you know your worth here, you will say no to things that are not in alignment, right? Where if something doesn't honor you, if it doesn't honor you, if it doesn't pay well, if it doesn't meet the criteria that you have for yourself, you say no to it, right? Even though it could seem like a great job, perhaps a great job offer. But if you, or a nice, let's say a career move, right? If I take this position, it will look good on my curriculum, right? It will be a stepping stone, but it's so underpaid, or it's free. Like it's a voluntary job, right? Voluntary job, but it looks great on my CV. I don't think so here. Here it looks more like it has to honor me in some way. Like I don't. Yeah, I feel that like there's an integrity or something here, a dignity also that says no. if this is how you see me and this is how you want to pay me, this is not right for me, right? So I'd rather stay away, right? I'd rather stay away and look somewhere else where these go hand in hand, where I will be appreciated, where I will be understood, where I will be given perhaps money or things like that, right? That is what believing that the door is opening to wealth, or believing that the door is opening to value, to self-worth, to being recognized or being considered in some way, right? Something like that. Then we have the upper card here. I get Ganesha. Very interesting card, because Ganesha is the remover of all obstacles. It says here, clearing away obstacles, protection and guidance. Maybe if you believe in some of these deities, you can call in Ganesha right now with the new moon and manifesting with Ganesha. It's interesting that this is in the crown position. The crown position, as I said, is the mind space, right? Where this can be the root position. Root position can be root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra, the lower chakras. Here we have the upper chakras, throat chakra, third eye, and crown chakra. So Ganesha here is a deity and remover of all obstacles. So if there's something that stands in the way, again, you're honoring yourself here. You're saying no. That's what the card is saying, that there's an opportunity with this new moon to say no to the things that is not honoring you here. It doesn't, like align with, I don't know what this is, your skills, your beauty, and here I also talk about inner beauty, your love, your hard work, perhaps, your dedication, your devotion, perhaps, here. If it doesn't, match you in some way, you should let it go. It is an obstacle, right? That is not for you, right? It's not for you. You could work with Ganesha at this time, asking Ganesha to help you remove any obstacles in your mind space that is standing in the way of honoring yourself if you are confronted with something that is not appreciating you, that is not aligning with you, doesn't honor you, doesn't appreciate you, doesn't listen to you, right? And you can ask Ganesha to be a protector, a guide, a remover of whatever you have in your mind space here that could make you bow to something that is not respecting you, I feel like. Yeah. That's what I feel like. I'm very drawn to the flowers that are around Ganesha here. And again, I think about summertime. I think about spring. I think about when you look at the colors here, yellow, pink, yellow, purple. It looks like Ganesha is quite lit up, like the sun is directly on Ganesha here. So I get this feeling of like whenever darkness comes in, and that can be very it can come in during this time, because it is the darkest time of the year. There is very little sunshine, and when you feel that potentially there is something approaching you, something that comes near, or something that doesn't appreciate you, that doesn't respect you in some way, you could ask in Ganesha here to help you to kind of eliminate those thoughts, eliminate your doubts, maybe your doubts in yourself, your doubts in what will people think about me if I say no, for instance, right? Or what will people think about me if I choose this line of work? That again, the door to value here can come with certain skills. I don't know, let's say there are so many kinds of work, right? But some lines of work are maybe not so let's say pretty, right? If you think about someone who works with let's say rat determination, right? Or you think about people who work with the dead, for instance, like funeral businesses, an undertaker, right? A forensic scientist, someone who works with a sense of decay. Let's say you are a scientist and you are trying to see if it's possible to harvest energy from things that deteriorate. Things that deteriorate give out heat, right? So what if you could grab that heat and use it for something, right? But maybe it's not a work that most people would consider. It's not something you talk about during Christmas dinners, right? Or maybe you can talk about, maybe there is some kind of security risk, or some kind of, let's say, if it's police work in some way, or a forensic scientist, you need to, you can't disclose things about your work, right? But you get my point, right? That there's the people that bathe and prepare the dead before a funeral, dress them. Is that something you would say at a family dinner, right? There's something about the value of the job, perhaps, or of your some kind of mission or some kind of life purpose, where something you're doing, something you are, or something you're doing, and it takes quite a lot of strength here, the strength from the animal here to say no, because you are honoring something. You're honoring something else here. You're honoring something about yourself. There is something about how you get your money, right? And I know, well, it's some people do not get their money by what we call ordinary jobs, right? They get maybe their money differently. Black money in some way, or I'm not going into that much. I can just feel it, right? And again, it comes with the devil feeling, this Saturn feeling, right? That what are we willing to do, right, to get by? What are we willing to bow to? What standards or morals or tradition or religion are you willing to like uphold a mask, right, and then do something on the side? Or I don't know, there's something about this. It could be something you are wondering if you should start working with something here, or something you want to do here, but again, I don't know exactly. I would want to say that the door is opening here to the door of value, but it could also be that it's closing. I still feel though that it has to do with what you believe is value. Again, maybe you're saying no to a job, wanting to take another one, even though it's less paid. There's something else about it that gives you a sense of self-worth, that you're prioritizing something because it gives you something else. Maybe it's not money, right? Maybe it's not, but it's some kind of abundance in some way. There's this, it has value to you. It's of value to you, right? That's why you're doing it, or that's why you're saying no to something, because you're treasuring something else, and it may take strength to do so. And you could need to ask in Ganesha here to, as a helper, or any other deity that you feel like could be of service or help here. You don't have to do it all alone, right? You can ask in, how do I preserve my flowers, right? How can I have spring? How can I be happier, perhaps? And honor myself for what it is that I find is valuable to do or be or pursue here. Now I get something like, again, is it your money that is streaming out here? Like, do you give away all your money to something? And maybe you're closing the door now, right? I don't know. Giving away all your money could be something like, we want to give to charity. We want to give to, but maybe like you can only give if you have enough, right? You shouldn't give too much, right? Sometimes we give away our heart, our money, our time, our listening ear, our devotion, and something, because we want to belong. We want to be connected. We want to stay connected. We want to belong to something. We don't want it to go away, right? But the door to value could be that you stop doing that, right? If you overgive or overshare, as I said before, you overshare of your resources of some kind. Maybe you need to stop doing that. And there could be, like, sometimes if you are in this position and this has been your life, you have overshared perhaps, or you have given, you have given out something, because you thought you could have value in that way. people would probably take that money. And yeah, they liked you because of it. But maybe you need to stop doing that, right? You need to stop doing that. And know that you have value regardless. And whatever thoughts may come up here that hinder you from this, something like, I'm a bad person, I ought to do this, what will they think about me, what if they don't like me, what if they leave me, and so on. Well, maybe they should leave you, right? Because if they only stay because of what you give, then it's not reciprocated. And though you may know here that you should stop doing it, there can still be thoughts that come up, thoughts that come up that are trying to restrict you from doing this. Insecurities, maybe you are afraid of losing some kind of security or something like that. And those fears, you can ask Ganesha to help you with those fears, right? To overcome them, to not see them as something that restricts you. If there are fears here, you can look at those fears. You can ask yourself, why am I afraid? What could possibly happen if they are no longer in my life? If I close my wallet here and I no longer give to of my time or money or devotion or whatever, if I don't do this, instead I take my value back to me and I am focusing on, like having having okay boundaries, integrity in some way, honoring me and who I am and what I do and what I stand for. That is okay to do that. It's quite okay. And if you have thought patterns here that are in the way of this, that kind of restrict you, those are the thought patterns you have to look at. Because those thought patterns is maybe the reason why you have given out and given out and given out and given out. Believing perhaps people wouldn't love you if you didn't do that, or people wouldn't care for you, they wouldn't appreciate you at your work, or you would be the first to be sacked if you don't do this, if you don't keep this, and this goes together. What you think here becomes your reality. When you change your thought patterns, you can change your footing, you could say, right? How firm you stand. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck, I feel like, for the door of value here. Yes, I have attachment here. Makes sense, right? Being attached to someone and giving away, perhaps. And being attached to how they saw you, how they talked about you. Did they appreciate you? Did they not appreciate you? Waiting for their response, being attached to their narrative, being attached to their stories, to their opinions. But if you get this out of the picture, if this is no longer as dominant, you will find that there is something to be gained by getting the attachment, a bad attachment here, right? It's very gray, right? This would be an attachment where, look, she is having an attachment to a mask. It's not even a real person. She's alone, right? this is not helpful, right? So Ganesha here, let's have a look. Bottom of the deck. Reflection. Illusion, self-examination, and distortion. And look at how these, when I read these, the bottom of the deck, it tells me something about like recent energy that has been maybe within the last month or two, or something, like maybe within certain weeks here. But these two go together: illusion, self-examination, and distortion, right? That this is not healthy, right? This is not it's not helping you to be attached to something that is maybe not even alive, or it's an illusion of some kind. This one, let's get that one as well. Yeah, it says here, building your world. It says creation, expansion, and networking. But for some reason, I feel like, is she doing that? Like, I feel like she is sitting kind of, you know, like protective, these crossed arms, protective. It's almost like she sits inside some kind of curtain, or it could even look like, you know, like a hollow tree, you know, sitting inside some kind of shell. Building your world, where she could have been retrieving here to build something, to revitalize, maybe. Feeling very attached to something, needing to rebuild, building a world, and realizing where you have had illusions or distortions in your life. This is very deep, dark work. I feel like this is very, very, very gray, right? It could have been a period of a sense of prison, almost like a prison, being attached to something, but it's only you know, it's like, now I think about, what is it called, Cast Away, was that the movie? You know, it's a bit like Robinson Crusoe, right? That there's this guy that is in a plane crash, and he ends up alone on a deserted island, and he lives there for many years. And to not become crazy, you would say, he made a bit of a doll out of a football. He painted like eyes and nose and mouth. And then he talked to it, right? He talked to this doll as if it was a person, and like had a conversation where it was like it was talking back to him, because otherwise he would become like, you could become a crazy person if you have no one to talk to, right? It would be a bit like a fantasy friend, or like what children do, right? That they can have a fantasy friend or similar, right? But I think because of this, I feel like it's quite, it's very feminine. Look at how dark it is here. Very feminine, very, very feminine here. It's a very feminine work. Whatever has been done here is very feminine. Going within, sitting, feeling everything, going through the emotions, finding out where you have been attached to something that is an illusion, something that distorts your world, how it reflects on your entire life, sitting here, feeling it, right? It could be the feeling of going through like a dark night of the soul or something like that, that you're finding out this is root position, right? This is something that comes from your, like, deep within. This is the deep water, right? The deep earth, the deep roots that you have. It could be a root trauma of being very attached to something that isn't there, something that is an illusion, something that is a fantasy friend, right? Something that was maybe a helper of some kind, or some kind of imaginary person, but it's something that has been, it could be, I want to say that this could be grief, right? That you're grieving someone who is not there anymore. And how it has reflected in your life. That you have been attached to someone maybe who is not there. She's still alone here. She's alone here, right? Someone who is not there. Grief, perhaps. Could be anything. It could be a person. It could be a place. It could be the feeling of home. Let's say, if you are a person who feels like you don't belong to Earth, that Earth is not your home, it's not your home planet, that you are a star being, you know, that you're this can represent anything, right? It could be an animal, it could be a friend, of course, a sibling, a parent, it could be a place. And without this one, life feels very, very gray, right? But these are like, I feel like past, some kind of past experience here. But it has taught you something, right? It has taught you not to let something in. Right? It has taught you not to let something in. Maybe you are still in a process of recovery here, but or not to be attached in the same way. That attachment is what it's Well, it has to be real, right? That if something, if you have to attach yourself to something, it has to be real. It cannot be a ghost, right? It cannot be something from the deep past. It cannot be even from a different lifetime. Of course, you can sit in grief, longing for something that will never show up. But I think you will find that there is it has been a valuable lesson, I feel like. Maybe you realize something that you can actually use to earn money here. Or something that has opened a door for you. Like working your way through some of this could have really opened up your eyes. Like it could have shown you the way you love someone here, the way you got attached, the way you stayed devoted. It tells us something about you, doesn't it? It tells us something about what kind of person you are. If this is a very devoted person who stays true to her one love, who will not just go out and find someone else, it tells us something about her. More than it tells us something about the one that she lost, or this other that is not there. It tells us something about her. What kind of person is she, right? And that is the value, right? That when she realizes what kind of persona, what kind of soul she is, right? That this is, when we grieve someone, it's because they were important, yes, of course, they were very important. But it's also about you, right? It has to do with what kind of person you are. And there is value in that, right? What kind of person? And when you realize what kind of person, this is where you can have a different understanding about yourself and therefore honor and only let in what truly appreciates you, right? What truly sees you and honors you for who you are. I feel one card about Ganesha here. Can we have one card about what this could be? What is this about? There's also something else about this card where I feel like to move from an energy like this. Grieving is very low vibrational energy. If we talk about grieving and loneliness here, very low vibrational, to a door of value, like that is quite a shift. So actually it's a bit like you have done something almost impossible, right? You have shifted your energy around, removed obstacles. In one way, we could say that maybe you've had help, but what you're doing is kind of or what you are embracing is kind of what Ganesh is. It removes obstacles. It is a remover of obstacles. That's what Ganesh is. It removes the things that are in the way. And this has been in the way. It didn't serve you, right? You removed it, right? You removed it, and now you're focusing on something else here. When you focus on something else, it becomes your world. Like when we focus on a loss, on sorrow, on grief, that becomes our world. Then everything around us will be dark and gray. When you focus your energy on, I am a remover of obstacles, right? I can remove with my brain, I can remove obstacles. That could be your self-worth here, but it also opens up. It opens up from being maybe, like, this feels more restrictive. It feels like being in a pressure cooker of some very dark night of the soul kind of journey here, to stand straight and say out in the open here, stand straight out in the open, and I'm strong, I'm stronger now, right? And I can say no, right? One more card on Ganesh here. Yeah, beautiful. Ace of Pentacles here. Look at how big this pentacle is. This big stallion here, standing straight and tall, with an enormous amount of pentacle here. Pentacle can, of course, talk about like money, worth, dignity, importance, special, someone who, as I just said, is almost like an embodiment of being someone who has worth, right? Someone who has, I almost want to say, like a big crown, a lot of knowledge, or something that is, and how strong he is. You can see the muscles, and he is the leader of the herd. This is a leader, right? It's like becoming a leader of some kind. And standing out there in the open, there's nothing about hiding in the darkness or something here. Being only a reflection of who you are. Now you stand here with like a, it's like he's wearing, well, he has the antlers. They are in themselves an indication within the herd of being a male leader, right? A Zeus, a big role model and leader, right? Powerful and strong and strength. Again, I had this feeling with the animal spirit here, right? That there's something about strength and leadership. Maybe something about standing alone, walking alone, maybe, but walking alone with some kind of knowledge, a dignity, right? A self-worth, knowing your quality, right? Knowing some deep, like, as I said, we learn something about her, right? Who is she, right? Why was this so so why did this even become a thing? It's partly because of her, right? If she wasn't as devoted, if she wasn't as attached, if she wasn't as loyal, as in love, if she wasn't in love, if she wasn't devoted, if she wasn't loyal, if she wasn't if she wasn't like willing, right? If she wasn't willing to love, if she wasn't willing to love someone, attach herself to someone, it tells us something about her, like a willingness to connect, right? A willingness to connect. The ability to connect herself, to melt with someone, to have a, what is that, symbiosis, like being so connected with something, being so devoted to something, so loyal. That is, again, as I said, that is who you are, right? And if you can see yourself with that kind of, like with self-worth, right? This is something, it's special. I feel like in today's world, where people change boyfriends as they change their clothes, and people get divorced, quickly. Someone like this is not a typical person, right? It's someone who she stays, right? Like she stayed here. Maybe she has been left. I don't know. Or as I said, she was grieving someone because they left her, because they died, because something happened to them. To maybe a place. But it tells us something about her. And here it's like here she is, I feel like a bit like an empress, right? She's standing tall here. She's a leader of the pack. But I don't see the pack, actually. I see other small animals, but I don't see the pack. It feels a bit like someone who could walk alone. Being single, maybe? Maybe she wants to date this one. But now she knows something about herself, right? She knows something about... Yeah, I have a feeling of like the pentacle here. It almost feels like a big crown chakra or something. She's learned something here. I see pentacles sometimes also as education, because education can lead to a job where you can earn money, right? It's like she is carrying a big brain here. A big education of some kind. She's learned something. She's learned something about obstacles. It's like having an ace here. Ace is always something new, like a new beginning of something with pentacles. So it could be something about earning different money, or that money is not all, right? Money is not knowledge can be money, right? Knowledge can keep you safe. Knowledge can provide the way you carry yourself. Whatever you've learned here has to do with your self-worth, as I talked about. Carrying yourself differently. Not doubting yourself, right? She is doubting herself. She's being attached to something that kind of whatever someone could be saying or could be wanting or could be, feeling lost here. When we are attached, we rarely have a great sense of self. We are attached to someone else who seems like they have a great sense of self. So they are our guide. They are the ones to listen to. They are the ones you follow their guidance instead of trusting your own. But you see the difference here, right? This is now someone is leading themselves here. We're feeling lost and confused and absolutely attached to something else. Here it's like now they know, right? Again, I started out the reading by saying something about like what narratives do you believe in, right? The more narratives that comes from the outside, the less secure you are on the inside. Right? It's like all outside influence can have an impact on you and change your ways, change your behavior. So let's say when they have a breaking news in television, and they tell you that there is a big outbreak of salmonella bacteria in all poultry, and you shouldn't eat that. You can decide, of course, whether you want to follow this advice. And sometimes it comes with this sense of panic, right? Oh, this is so terrible, and so on. But it directs our shopping, right? It can direct our shopping to now buy beef or buy pork instead, right? And avoid all poultry. You will not buy that, right? If you know that there could be bacteria. And so it is with a lot of other stuff, right? This is where you decide for yourself what to follow, like what kind of information to follow. And you are prepared to walk alone for it. Right? Knowing that, yeah, maybe I don't follow the guidance, maybe I don't follow the alarms or the panic, but I follow something else, right? I follow my own gut feeling. I follow my own rationality. I don't buy whatever panic campaigns are being brought to the table, whatever. I don't accept all narratives. I stand on my own here, more grounded, right? Ace of Pentacles. I feel like more grounded, more stable, more straight, more stronger, more more, I feel like knowledge, it's like you've learned something. There's a possibility to learn something here with this new moon that you could manifest with Ganesha here. The ability to stand firm in your own, your own person. Again, it's like when she stands here, right? She just says no, right? Her palms here. She says no. That would be her standing here, right? Standing here, right? That is her like standing and saying no, right? Because it's like something is guiding her, something is giving her information or is helping her to stand straight. And that is what I feel. There's something that is available. Ganesha is a very big energy. Like, just think about it, the remover of all obstacles. Like, that is pretty much, that's heavy stuff, heavy lifting, right? Ganesha is heavy lifting. Like this is not a small deity, right? This is heavy lifting. All obstacles. That's pretty much. And that's pretty much awesome, right? Believing that you are protected and guided by something big here. Protected and guided by something big, right? That you're connected with it, right? And yeah, again, I have this feeling there are no other deers around him, right? But there are other animals, right, around this one. I'm not quite sure what it is that you are becoming or going towards here, but it seems like maybe it's not something your normal herd would appreciate. Right? Or your normal family would appreciate, that you need new family here. Different ones, but they accept you and you accept them as they are, right? And again, I have the feeling that you'd rather want that than going back to being attached to something here, right? You'd rather want this. There's no sunshine here, right? I said that it's like Capricorn, the season of Capricorn is where we are furthest away from the sun. So it's like we feel the absence of something, right? Here it feels a bit like it's coming back, that something is returning, or you are connected with something here. And when you are connected with it, it's clearing away everything. That is the potential, I feel like. Big, strong, standing straight, walking alone maybe, or away from your herd. Again, there's something about something you could be doing here that is maybe not ordinary work. Maybe it's spiritual work. Again, Ganesha is coming from the Hindu, I believe the Hindu religion, right? This also means that let's say maybe you were a Catholic, right? You were raised to be a Catholic here. But actually that is not the right religion. It's not the right community for you. That this is your community, right? And changing, saying no to something, and all the doubts and worries and guilt feelings and whatever that may come up here, there is something about following, I feel like following more of a, like it has to be rooted in you, some kind of maybe life purpose or something deeper, right? It has to feel right. Though you may stand alone, though you may walk alone, you prefer that this is more you than this, right? I feel like also, yes, she's rebuilding, she's building her world here, but I feel like a bit in hiding, right? Nobody can see what she's doing. She sits alone. She's alone here, she's alone here. And it always reflects back to her, like whatever she was in here has been this dark pool of water, I feel like. But she's emerging. There's something emerging here. And this new moon is perfect for this, right? It's perfect for... Again, it's now I get something like, it's almost like this one is carrying this big pentacle, golden pentacle. But to me, it looks a bit like a lantern, right? Like she could be a carrier of a lantern. Something she needed herself, right? A lantern. To get herself out of this. She could become a lantern. A knowledgeable lantern here. For a beacon of light for someone else. It's like she walks now with some kind of glow, right? Walking with a sense of glow. Maybe by herself, maybe again, what you believe in can become your world, right? If you can imagine it, you can create it. If you can dream it, you can become it. The only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be, right? That's what I feel like here. From being, you could say, attached to someone else's decisions and ideas and plans and narratives and something you may have been taught when you grew up, to now being your own person, right? Your own leader in your own life. Taking responsibility, right, for your life. taking responsibility for your happiness. And that is the door to abundance, right? That is the door to happiness. That is the door to self-worth and the feeling of value. When you step inside the doors and you're looking for a job, they now see someone like this. Would they hire someone like this? Of course they will. If that is what you're looking for. This one deserves respect, right? He is standing his ground, his territory, right? He is a defender, a protector, he is a leader. If you stand in front of someone like this, they would, it's like there is some kind of vibe around them, some kind of, like the frequency is different than this one, right? It's way stronger, this one. They never doubt themselves. They believe the knowledge they have, they believe the connection they have. If this is a religious change, that you're changing religion, or it becomes more and more aware that what you have been part of perhaps is not right for you. Though it means that, yeah, you are no longer part of this community, or the more straight you stand here, the more you cannot be part of this, right? You cannot be a leader and be attached at the same time. Not attached like this. She is not moving. Like she is like she cannot move without the other one's approval. Right? It's like she is bound in some way. But here, you don't ask for permission, right? You don't ask for someone's guidance necessarily. You trust in maybe your connection with, I don't know, the deities that are right for you, or the religion that is right for you, guidance that is right for you, more like intuitive guidance, or maybe, like books, like Bibles, teachings, things like that. A spiritual teacher maybe. But it's someone in this area here. And they in some way they help you, like they help you to stand firm like this. They're not asking you to give up your own inner leadership, right? They don't ask you to become an appendix, a second, right? Here you are the leader at first, right? Here you become a second, third, fourth, an appendix, like someone owns you, right? That is not who you are, I feel like here. It's not who you are. At least I want to say with this new moon, there is a beautiful opportunity to become focused on what you believe in, what is right for you. Putting up those boundaries, learning, right? Learning here. Because that, again, this could be a devotee in the sense that you don't mind religion. It just has to be the right one, right? You don't mind being a, again, this could be someone who is, let's say, a spiritual teacher. This could be a priest, but maybe in a different religion, right? It could be inspired, right? Inspired teacher or speaker or writer maybe, right? But inspired by something else here. How to remove the things in your life that really, really makes you feel like this. How do you get all this low vibration out of your life? Maybe someone could go here instead. And this is what I feel like the new moon is opening up for, an opportunity to become very focused on what is right for you in your life. And therefore why you need to say no sometimes, right? Why you need to honor who you are. Again, someone who says no here, with a sense of strength here, is someone who will not put up with everything, right? They will not put up with being second, third, fourth, fifth, left behind, forgotten, or, you know, being an appendix. That they will not put up with that, right? They say no if they don't like it. They walk away if they don't like it. They will not be treated like that. They show that they have their own will, that they have their own understanding. They are not an item, right? They are not someone's, I don't know, dog, right? They are seeking. They want respect. I said that. I've said it before. It's like someone who is now knowing their worth and is looking for people who will honor them as they are, and they cannot be fooled around with, right? That is what this indicates. And the more you practice this, the more you will be more like this. And that is the ace. That is the new beginning. That is the start of something new. New grounding, new dignity, new integrity. It's how you carry yourself, right? It's how you straighten your back. It's how you say no in an assertive way, right? You don't have to become angry, you don't have to become violent, right? You just put your arms here and you say, no, this is not for me. Whatever you are offering right now, this is not for me, right? So learning to see the difference between something that is for you and something that is not for you. And now you have the opportunity to choose. Sometimes when we are children, we don't have that, right? We get caught in what we learn and what we as children are attached to. But you can You can change this. This, I feel like, is what I have for this new moon in Capricorn. Will of course not be for everyone, right? But if you feel like you have been kind of a scapegoat in some way, that you have been struggling, that life just seems like one big obstacle, that the sun never really shines, you know. One of the reasons why this happens is because you think it doesn't shine. You think that it cannot be possible. You think that you are this and there's no way out. There is a way out. You can start manifesting something else. So that is what I want to say for this final moon reading in 2024. I hope this helps somehow. Take care of yourself, everybody out there. I wish you the very best. Happy New Year for you, all of you who are celebrating. And let's have a nice, great, beautiful new beginning for 2025, and just ask in Ganesha in your life if you feel that is right for you. Ask for the protection, the guidance to clear every obstacle that may be in your way, to become this new version of yourself, way more confident, way more like with so much more self-worth and so much more understanding about who you are. And the process, again, you've learned a lot, right? You have been through a process. This is what I feel like. Take care of yourself, everybody. Love and light to all of you. Bye-bye.